So let's call this meeting of the Public Safety Commission to order. And if we can all stand to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag
to
of the United States of America,
the
and to the
republic
Republic for which it
which
stands,
stands
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty.
liberty and justice for all.
Ms. McGee, if we could have roll, please.
Chair Jeff Pazell,
Present.
Vice Chair Victoria Firestone, Commission Member Al Bo, Commission Member Eugene Ramirez,
I'm here.
Commission Member Hunter Chang,
here.
Alternate Zilla Toviano. City officials present are Police Chief John Encontro, Fire Chief Mario Rueda, and Public Works Manager Chris Gutierrez. And we are also joined by Mayor Susan Jacobowski and Councilmember Gretchen Shepherd-Rami.
Thank you, everyone. The agenda was posted 72 hours prior to the meeting at City Hall, Crowell Public Library, and the Rec Department. It was also posted on the city's website. And now is the time for public comment for any members of the public who have anything to say on an item that's not on the agenda. Do we have any public comment on any items of interest that are not on the agenda from any member of the public tonight? Seeing none.
Ray Kwan has his hand up
Oh, he does? I don't see him.
on the lower right-hand corner of my screen anyway.
Okay. Dr. Kwan? I don't have, I have his video is off and his microphone is non-existent, so I'm not sure.
Maybe he's just waving hi.
And I don't see his video. Maybe I'm missing something, but
It shows connecting right now.
okay. Well, why don't we come back to that then? Commissioner reports. This is the time for any members of the Public Safety Commission to inform the public of any meetings or conferences they have attended. Does anybody want to make such a disclosure? Seeing none, let's move on to new business. Police Department monthly report, Chief Encontro.
Thank you. There we go. You all have the report in front of you. I want to touch on a few things. Our detectives are busy at work. We've seen a increase of about 50% or 4 burglaries this year compared to last. We are kind of catching up with the rest of the county and the state as far as seeing an increase, but this number is very low. We believe with the additional flock cameras, so now we're up to 31 cameras in the city. That will also help us, and we've connected our cameras with some surrounding agencies. So if we have information and we're looking for someone, we can contact the other agencies, and same with them for us. So that should be helpful. We had 4 residential burglaries. We also had a commercial burglary, and the commercial burglary was a window smash, and they took the register. There was no cameras that were working, surveillance cameras of the owners working at the time. We recovered 2 stolen vehicles. Both of those vehicles were located by flock camera notifications, and also an arrest from a recovered vehicle. The vehicle is located in another city, and by following the information and also with the other agency, we made the arrest or made the contact, and there were some issues about the arrest that weren't clear that required investigations. And we do have, we're trying to get them to turn themselves in. They said they would. We'll be working on an arrest warrant to ensure that we have the ability to arrest. We had 2 community engagement events. The first was our first coffee with a cop in several well, a couple years, many months. And that was with Mr. Raju Surla at the new Apsara coffee shop on Mission. He's almost to South Pass. And he was very supportive of us, supplied the coffee for those people in attendance. And I was personally was able to talk to someone and refer them to a detective about a scam that they became part of. And the scam is involving Bitcoin, and we're seeing more of that occur, not just in the city, but in the region, where people are saying, we want you to participate in this Bitcoin venture, and by the victim providing information specific about themselves, that allows those who sold the Bitcoin to them to immediately steal it back. And these numbers are very large from the victims. And about all I can say to the community is, if it's Bitcoin, don't get involved with anyone who calls you to solicit it. I know some brokerage firms that are starting to add crypto coin to investment portfolios. And that's probably where you should go if you're unsure of the best way to become involved. Our officers are working to connect more with the community through different events. We're also working towards having a partnership with the schools. We're going to assign day watch officers to each school, and they'll meet with the principals, and then with the principal's approval, walk the school and make sure it's safe, and have some impromptu discussions with the students. Eventually, we'd like to participate in different activities at the school as the school feels it'd be appropriate. The nice thing to say, we have 29 of 30 positions filled. We have another person going through just about finishing up backgrounds, and that would be our 30th. And so we're hoping things will go very well. 2 cadet positions are still vacant. However, I interviewed someone last week, and it looks like we're going to fill one of those 2 vacant positions coming up. We had our first DUI checkpoint on the 23rd of April, and we had 2 officers from Vernon assist us. The DUI checkpoint resulted in 2 arrests and several citations. It was, and one of those arrests was driving under the influence. It was our first time doing it, and I stayed for most of the night and watching it go. It went pretty smoothly. There's some things we're going to have to improve on a little bit and expedite things. And but I was very pleased with the results. And if we went through it, we didn't arrest anyone, that means we're doing pretty well. And people don't want to drive through here on driving under the influence. A few of the students who had just left the prom for San Marino High School got to go through our checkpoint, and lucky they were neither cited nor arrested, and they weren't even suspected of driving under the influence. So my respect and admiration to those young men and women who are handling themselves appropriately. Our regarding traffic, our primary locations for speed are Huntington Drive. We've had a couple collisions on Los Robles, Monterey Road, Roslyn Road, and Marisol Drive, but Huntington Drive continues to be our biggest problem with collisions. Also, people failing to use their signal when they're turning or stopping. We had 5 collisions due to specifically for speeding, and one person collided with another vehicle while driving on the wrong side of the road. The stats are in there, and although we do have the uptick, I've made a specific request for detectives and also patrol to work on some plans that will help us reduce those numbers, whether we're working with other agencies, having more patrols, and then also with more and more neighborhood watch opportunities, then we're going to be using that quite frequently. That's my report. And if you have any questions, I'm available.
Let's go around the table. Commissioner Vogt, any questions?
Yes, are any of pardon me, are either of our motorcycle officers in action?
What I'm doing is they're currently corporals. And what I'm doing is they are working at least once a week on their motorcycle and working overtime and working on specific crime or traffic problems in the city. So we're utilizing them that way. And that's been helpful. They've been very productive for us. We've found that the next motor school will be in November. That is somewhat close by. So we have asked for people who are interested. And if those two folks are still interested by the time it comes about, actually by the time we get to about September, then we will enroll them in those classes and start their motorcycle officer training program so that they're better prepared to pass the school.
May I ask one other question?
Yes, sir.
With regard to your discussion or your comments on the school day watch program, is your focus to be ready for the fall?
No, we're going to try and get in before the school ends. There's also
Great.
summer school.
Yes.
And we'll do it during summer. And then hopefully we'll have, if there's any things that need to be ironed out, hopefully they will be taken care of through the spring and the summer. And our presence will be even stronger during the fall semester. We're looking forward to that and continuing our great partnership with the school district.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ramirez, any questions?
Yes, Chief, have we noticed any decline in the number of filings by the district attorney's office? Or are we getting all our cases filed? Any issues with that?
Our felonies, for the most part, are being filed. However, our misdemeanors are not being filed at greater numbers than they used to be. So that's kind of disappointing that we are our 148s, which are resisting arrest or impeding. Those are not being filed. And as I think Commissioner Ramirez had mentioned, those are some issues that can have greater impact on the department, greater impact on liability issues when there is no, not just a filing, but a conviction. So we want to always make sure those arrests are proper. And we're looking at some different procedures to tighten up our arrests. We've got a lot of young officers. And so we're going to be adding some more oversight to the arrest process and review of reports. And of course, as we always do, probable cause to ensure that we have a good arrests being filed.
You know, there are some agencies, your former agency, LAPD, has come up with some new rules regarding pretextual stops using a expired registration tag or a busted taillight as a reason to pull the car over and maybe discover a bigger crime. Do we have any issues with that, or we continue with our pretextual stops?
You know, Commissioner, I appreciate the question greatly, and it gives me an opportunity to kind of brag about the officers. While LAPD may label stops where someone's registration is expired or they fail to use their turn signal, those minor violations as pretextual stops for further investigation, and that's what it means. Our focus primarily is on traffic safety, and we want to make sure that people are driving with current registration, current licenses. There's been data to show that both there is no impact on unsafe drivers who don't have valid licenses, but there's also been studies that show the opposite. But our goal is to make sure that people are driving safely on the streets, that they're licensed. And because when we have a victim of a traffic collision where someone runs into them, that motorist that runs into them should have insurance, should have a valid license and valid registration. But to get back more specifically to the question, we want to, we're going to continue to make our stops. If we need to make investigatory stops, we're going to continue to do that. I would love to see what the data is after 6 months or a year with LAPD, what effect it has regarding crime. Their crime is going through the roof. One weekend you'll see 8, 10, 12 shootings, a large number of murders. Granted, we don't have the violence, but we could certainly have a higher increase of crime if we're not making these good traffic stops or investigatory stops based upon what the law provides us. So we're going to continue with doing legal, good, old school police work.
No, I'm glad to hear that, because obviously if it's a violation of the vehicle code or the penal code, we have a right to enforce that in order to keep crime down and to make sure everybody is safe. So I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add one more thing, I keep an old cartoon from the Times on my desk. And that, if you can remember, several years ago, there was the London bus bombing. And that's where a double-decker bus, they planted, or actually had someone come on and initiate an explosive device. And that cartoon refers to good old police work. We're based upon following clues, following the law, and just doing police work the right way will solve a crime. And so when it comes to these kind of issues, the definition that the LA Police Commission and the LAPD want to use, we're still staying with good old police work that has an effect on crime.
Good. Glad to hear that. Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome, sir.
Commissioner Chang, any questions?
Yeah, just Annette, I was just looking at the table on page 9. I was looking at the percentages. I don't know, for some reason this caught my eye. Just I don't know if the math is done correctly under the total arrests and adult and juveniles. Because we had a decrease, but the percent shows a positive number, and then the juveniles went up 200% and shows 0. So if you just want to check those numbers.
Which
That
total arrests?
am I reading that correctly? It's like total correct arrests. We have 48 and 58 for year to date and last year to date. And then that percentage is the difference between those two numbers, right? And as a percentage.
Right, that percentage is wrong. Right,
Okay.
I'll
All right.
do a better job
Okay.
of checking those
All
percentages.
right. Okay. Yeah, I just that stood out for some reason. Okay. Nothing else. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Commissioner Tobiano, any questions?
I had trouble with my mute. No question. Thank you.
Are there any questions from any members of the public for Chief Incontro? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to receive and file the Police Department monthly report.
So move.
Commissioner Bo, thank you very much. Seconded by Commissioner Chang. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
No one's opposed. That motion will carry, obviously, and we'll move on to item number 2. Fire Department monthly report. Chief Rueda. You're on mute still, sir.
Guess I should unmute. Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Again, you have my report in front of you, but I did want to share with you the fire department has been completely immersed in preparation of new employees, including all the processes that take place prior to hiring. And then this last week has been all hands on deck orientation for our 2 newest employees, Alfonso Jimenez and Alec Martinez. The successful completion of their orientation tomorrow, they will start their regular work at the end of this week, and that would bring us to full staffing. So we still have 1 person off, long-term injury, awaiting surgery, but that would bring us back to a point where we're not forcing people to work each shift. So that would be good for morale and also good for ensuring we have sufficient personnel every day to work. There's a couple other items I put in the report. Training, I presented training for our department heads on EOC operations, specifically our alert and warning systems in our city. So they're familiar, and in the event of an emergency can alert our residents to ensure their safety. The last warning that we put out was for the gasoline that spilled from Pasadena and affected our residents on the west side of the city. I also recently attended a radiological and nuclear planning and response measures seminar. I had heard portions of it before, but not in the past 20 years. And unfortunately, a lot hasn't changed. But they are resurrecting plans, and it'll be something I bring to our executive team in the near future, and also to our school district to talk about what would happen in the event of a radiological or nuclear disaster. And that concludes my report. I did want to offer on May 23rd, we will be having a Ready for Summer first aid and preparedness seminar here at the fire station. So those flyers should go out in the next day or so. And those would be open to really anybody, but hopefully residents of our community to come in and learn first aid skills, CPR, active bleeding, use of tourniquets, choking, and then the use of extinguishers. So it's been very popular in the past, pre-pandemic. So we're hoping to get the same sort of enthusiasm about preparing people for summer. That concludes my report.
You're on mute, Jeff.
Oh, well, that explains why nobody's responding to me. There you go. Thank you, Chief Rueda. Go through the whole thing again. Commissioner Ramirez, any questions?
Yes, I just want to comment on the notation made under personnel that before a firefighter paramedic begins working with the City of San Marino, they will already have completed, assuming they're a brand new firefighter, they've received 1,800 hours of training.
Yes, I recently had the opportunity to sit down with Mitch from the Tribune and share with him, just for residents to understand the caliber of people that we're getting. They've gone through a tremendous amount of training just to get to the application period, and it allows us to, for the city to save all that money paying their salary basically while they're in training. But we do give them a 1 to 2 week orientation to our specific tactics, methods, equipment that we use here in San Marino. But they will have had to attend a California State Certified Fire Academy. Many of our local colleges run those fire academies, Glendale, Rio Hondo, others, Mount San Antonio College. And then once they get through that, once they get through emergency medical technician school, they can apply to paramedic school. And then that's another 10 months of intensive training to become a paramedic. It is one of the things the firefighters here do place emphasis on is their paramedic skills. We do a paramedic assessment as part of the hiring process. So they're actually very well trained before they get here, but they still undergo our own scrutiny and then 18 months of probation as San Marino firefighters.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Chief.
Commissioner Chang, any questions?
Nothing, thanks.
Commissioner Bogue, any questions? Commissioner Bogue, do you have any questions? I saw a no. He's on mute, but I saw his.
I said no. I wasn't quick enough.
We're all having mute problems tonight. I don't feel so left out. Commissioner Tobiano.
None for me, thank you.
Okay. Any questions or comments from any member of the public on Chief Rueda's report? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to receive and file the report. Commissioner Chang, thank you very much. Second. Commissioner Ramirez, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
That's everybody. Motion passes. We'll move on to number 3. Parks and Public Works Department Monthly Report. Mr. Gutierrez.
Good evening, Chair and Commission. As noted, you guys have the report in front of you. I'm going to highlight a few things that are going on. First, Iteris is working on to complete the citywide traffic circulation study, including to include the residential survey that went out earlier this year. We actually asked them to add the intersection Huntington Drive, Sierra Madre and San Marino, the restriping. They anticipate this to be ready to share with you guys late summer, early fall. Additionally, the traffic concerns raised on the last meeting on Bellhaven, we're still waiting it's still pending, still trying to work on that. Mariposa started their work of the multi-year tree maintenance program. They've already planted approximately 70 trees at various locations citywide. They're currently performing the grid trimming for the right-of-way trees south of Huntington from Del Mar Avenue to westbound city limits. Also, I don't know if you've noticed, if you're driving around town, we completed a thermoplastic striping project. We have the ladder pattern that was installed on the intersection of Lorraine Road and West. We also included striping and laid separators and raised pavement markings that were also installed in the intersection of Darby and Granada, as well as Roxbury and Granada. These measures are going to help improve both traffic, pedestrian safety at the busy intersection. The no stopping signs were installed and completed on Virginia and Oak Grove. Lastly, for the multi-year street rehab project, we're going to consider to award the contract at the May 11th council meeting. The work is going to be approximately $3.4 million with the inspection services at $80,000. For the multi-year sidewalk project, we anticipate to have this contract awarded the May 11th council meeting as well. This will be for 5 years with the option of a 2-year extension. And we anticipate this is going to cost roughly $450,000 a year. And that concludes my my report.
Thank you. Commissioner Chang, any questions? You're on mute. I got to say it.
No questions, thanks.
Commissioner Ramirez, any questions?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Commissioner Bogue, any questions?
A comment and then a question. First of all, I'd like to comment with regard to the report. I was very impressed with the thoroughness of your presentation, Director Gutierrez. Very informative. Thank you so much for a really great report. I did have 3 quick questions. One, with regard to the inclusion of Sierra Madre and Huntington in the Iteris report. I was under the impression that we had already dealt with that and had concluded what was to happen with regard to the bus lane. Is the inclusion you're referring to something beyond that corner turning?
I apologize. Yes, this is for north of Huntington on Sierra Madre. We're considering restriping bike lanes to narrow the lanes. They're too wide where it's causing potential accidents.
Well, thank you. With regard to the tree planting, I've noticed some trees in the median on Huntington Drive that look like they might be new. I assume that must be part of the tree planting. Do you have any idea as to what kinds of trees were planted? Are they all one kind? Because the ones on Huntington Drive are not, they appear to all be similar to the sycamores. I don't know if they are sycamores or not.
There are various. I could send you a detailed list if you'd like.
No, I was just curious because the ones on Huntington Drive seem to be consistent with the type of trees that were already in the median.
Oh,
Yeah, okay. And the final question with regard to the tree trimming, which you mentioned was what, south of Huntington from Del Mar to the city limit?
westbound.
Yeah, is that on all streets south of Huntington?
Yes, they're starting, they started 2 weeks ago, grid trimming, and they're gonna continue moving forward westbound. So it's Bedford, Roanoke, and moving south.
Great. We've had a number of limbs fall in our street recently, so we're looking forward to seeing them come and trim the trees.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair Ozell.
Commissioner Tobiano.
Chair,
Oh, yes, Commissioner
yeah,
Chang.
before, can I just add to ask what Al had asked on the striping on Sierra Madre, Director? You said you're putting in bike lanes. Is it more like edge striping, just or is it actual bike lanes?
It's still under review. The theory is to just
Narrow the lanes, right?
because they're a little too wide.
Yes, yeah, that's been an issue with Sierra Madre. Is the furthest right east lane is almost double the width of the left lane.
Yes.
So it does lend to speeding.
Yes,
in Sierra
absolutely.
Madre, yes. Okay, thanks.
Commissioner Tobiano, any questions?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Then I'll entertain a motion to receive and file the Parks and Public Works Department report.
Can the public ask a question?
Oh,
Oh.
yes. Sorry, I skipped the public. My mistake. Any questions from the public or comments from the public? Who was
Sure.
that?
This is Charles Martinson from Bellhaven.
Mr. Martinson, go ahead.
Thank you. Director Gutierrez, thank you for the update on Bellhaven. I look forward to your, I guess, eventual findings or report. Chief Incontro, quick question for you. And first off, we appreciate that you brought out the radar cart for our street. And we unfortunately seen it flashing the red and yellow quite a bit, which I think means the cars are going over 10 miles an hour. Does that actually record that data? So at the end of this kind of assessment, there'll be some type of output, or is it more just nothing stored?
Mute.
Yes, sir. It does store the data.
You're on.
Okay.
Okay, it flashed that I was still on mute. It does store the data, so we'll be using that. You should be seeing, like I said, once a week, we do have our motor officers working. We'll have them up there. We'll also be having more officers on your street coming up. And hopefully that helps for a while. And I don't know if we will see if there's a neighborhood watch group. There used to be one several years ago on Kinghurst, right by your street.
Yep,
Yeah.
I think the Reeds ran that, but
Yeah,
unfortunately moved to
I
Vegas
don't know
now.
if anyone's, I don't know if anyone's taken over, but we'll be working to try and discuss the speeding, and then also we'll be contacting Dr. Lynn at Carver School, and even talking to our friends across the street at St. Felicitas to remind the parents to slow down a little bit.
Very cool. I appreciate the update. Thank you.
Any other members of the public with any questions or comments? Hearing none, now I'll entertain a motion to receive and file the Parks and Public Work Department report. Commissioner Bogue, thank you very much. Have a second? Commissioner Ramirez, thank you. All in favor? That's everybody. Motion passes. We'll move on to item number 4. Do I have a motion to approve our minutes from the March 7th, 2022 meeting? Commissioner Chang, thank you very much. Second, Commissioner Bogue, thank you very much. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. And moving on to number 5, San Marino Fire Department Annual Report for 2021. Chief Rueda.
Properly unmuting. Since 2017, the San Marino Fire Department has completed an annual report highlighting the department's achievements during the previous calendar year. The annual report is intended to provide city residents and electeds with information on the department's structure, as well as the statistical measurements and data we use to catalog the department's performance. And it really provides me an opportunity to showcase the work of the San Marino Fire Department. I've found in many communities, the fire department and the work we do, other than running to fires or when somebody's hurt or injured or sick, is a mystery to many. And this really does provide our fire department an opportunity to sort of break down those walls of mystery that surround our fire station and offer some transparency into the work we do. This year was particularly difficult due to staffing. And I really was pleased to be a part of this organization that people came to work some of the most difficult times and continue to serve the residents. So I offer you the San Marino Fire Department's 2021 annual report, and available for any questions that you might have. This is available. I mail this to interested residents. It goes to the council, and it's available at the fire department and at City Hall for any residents that would like a copy.
Commissioner Bogue, any questions on the annual report?
Yes, I noticed the first 2 pages include pictures of firefighters working in difficult terrain. And both of the pictures include San Marino firefighters. At least it appears that that's the case. Can you tell us where the pictures were taken?
Yes. This past year, if you recall, the northern half of the state was completely on fire.
Yes.
There was several large fires burning, and California is really a model for mutual aid and the sharing of resources. The northern half of the state normally suffers under a fire season. Well, it's nearly year round now. The most critical time is late spring, summer, when Mother Nature shuts off the sprinkler up there and they start getting weather patterns that are conducive to large fires. This fire that we took pictures of was Captain Petta's crew, who was recently honored by our San Marino Garden Club. This was in the Caldor fire in South Lake Tahoe. This crew was, I believe it was 16 days supporting. This was both a combined federal incident and California state resource incident. And our firefighters ended up, when they run out of the crews that do the sort of work that you're observing here, they press into service the municipal crews, and that has become much more common over the past few years, where the regular paid crews and the prisoner crews are just completely exhausted, and they'll press frontline firefighters into service, doing really arduous work. This is not easy work. So that's where we selected these photos from, Commissioner.
Well, needless to say, we're proud of our firefighters and we thank them for all that they do.
Yeah, I'm frequently asked about our firefighters. They benefit from the training that they get. in going out and the exposure and the experience. But I hope there's not a day when the city of San Marino has to call on those favors to bring resources to our city from across the state to support our efforts. I'm knocking on wood that we don't have that circumstance here, but that is the design of the system that allows resources to move up and down the state in support of neighbor helping neighbor.
Well, obviously, second Commissioner Bo's sentiment. So thank you, Chief Rueda, for all you do and all the department does. Chief, yeah, I elevated you. Commissioner Ramirez, do you have any questions?
I've always wanted to be a chief. No, I thought it was a well-done report. I really enjoyed reading it. And again, the photos from the Caldor Fire and elsewhere were pretty impressive because I spent a lot of time up in Tahoe, so I know how close they got to parts of the lake. And yeah, that was a scary fire. So I'm glad we were able to assist. And like I said, I thought it was a well-done report.
Thank you.
Commissioner Chang?
I also like to echo Al and Jeff sentiments on this report. Look forward to reading it every year, and thanks, Chief Rueda. Well done.
Commissioner Tobiano?
Same here. I'm happy and very impressed in what I saw in the report, and thank you, Chief Rueda.
Thank you.
Any comments or questions from any member of the public? See, at least two are still with us. Seeing nothing, I will entertain a motion to receive and file the annual report. Commissioner Ramirez, thank you. Second, Commissioner Chang, thank you. All in favor?
All right.
That's everybody. That motion passes, and that concludes the agenda. If anyone has any items for future agenda, please feel free to email them to me or a member of the staff here. And as I've done in the past, I saw Mayor Jacobowski join us by video, so I will give her an opportunity if she wants to say something.
I wasn't planning on it, but since you made the offer, I cannot tell you how out and about both of our chiefs have been lately, Chief Encontro and Chief Rueda. Everywhere, everything going on in town, long hours, and they are extremely humble and never talk about the long hours they give to the city. So we really appreciate you, and we appreciate the speed with which Mr. Gutierrez is learning the ropes of his job. Thank you all.
Hear, hear.
Yeah.
Well, on that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Also move.
Everybody's raising their hand at the same time, so we will just adjourn. Thank you, everyone. See you
Have a
next
good
month.
night. Be safe.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good night.
Thanks, everyone.